Wherever you are in the world, greetings.
Looking forward to coming to Colombo, to Mumbai, and to Bangalore.
My next guest on the Self-Leadership Success Summit is Mr. Gautam Ganglani. Gautam is the Managing Director of Right Selection. Right Selection is a speaker management service. And of course, I know Gautam because they represent me as a professional speaker, as they do with many world-famous people like Dr. Marshall Goldsmith, Brian Tracy, a whole skew of names that you would recognize from their books and appearances. The reason I wanted Gautam on the Self-Leadership Success Summit is he has a tremendous business entrepreneurship mindset, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. But firstly, welcome, Gautam.
My pleasure. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you. Well, we're here actually working in Mumbai, and so we've had this opportunity to catch up. Now, you have a business concept which I think you call breaking bread, right? Is that right? Breaking bread or relationships? What is that?
Yes, well, I mean, I've often been asked by people to say, what's your number one marketing strategy as an entrepreneur? Marketing is the key function for a business's growth, continued growth, sustainability. And, people ask me, is it PR? Is it social media? Is it, advertising, word of mouth? And I say, newspapers, I said, none of the above. They said, what is the number one strategy? And I said, it's breaking bread, be it with your customers, or be it with my speakers. It's breaking bread, which is just really about building relationships. I mean, whether it's over a meal, whether it's going over and beyond just the engagement and understanding their specific needs, the objectives, their aspirations, be it the customer or the speaker. And that's where we look at breaking bread as the number one relationship building activity for a sustainable business model.
And isn't that somewhat counterintuitive in this 21st century where it's about your LinkedIn profile, it's about your social media, it's about this. Isn't this just old school? I'm playing paper tiger with that question, right?
Well, technology is definitely omnipresent in all our lives now more than ever. So I understand that concern of technology being the way of the future. I still very much endorse that breaking bread is where that personal FaceTime with your clients and speakers is really where business happens. I believe social media, technology can help you keep in touch, can keep awareness at all levels, but really where business happens is where personal one-to-one relationships take place, face-to-face interaction, nothing like having a meal and a conversation face-to-face to be able to drive your business and grow relationships.
Well, I have to say I agree. I mean, I enjoy working with you because I feel that you care about what my needs and wants are rather than me just being another business transaction. So personally, I know that that's important. But doesn't that just take a lot of time to build these relationships?
I agree. It does take time. But at the same time, I sometimes think, who's in a rush here? Do you want to build a handful of deep quality relationships, or are you looking to build a list of followers? I mean, yes, social media can achieve your followers and your number of fans to some extent, but relationships doesn't come from number of followers. It comes from a handful of quality relationships with the right people. Very
good. I mean, there's a quote right there, a handful of quality relationships with the right people, which raises the question, how do you know who the right people are? How do you sort through that? Because I know you're a speaker management agency, but you used to be a speakers bureau, and I know any speakers watching this are going to be phoning you up and say, represent me, represent me, represent me, right? I want to be famous, and yet your right selection, you are actually selective. So I'm grateful that I have been selected. But so how do you be selective about those relationships?
Great question, Andrew. I mean, it's something that, again, takes time. For us, we do help to select our speakers through referrals, through seeing their content online, watching their videos, doing reference checks on the speakers that we would like to work with. And also, customers help us to guide us what are current trends. Now, today, be it AI, be it technology, be it future trends, those are topics that are coming up. So we'll do our research. There's hundreds of speakers on this topic. But then again, how do we pick the right 3-4 speakers? So it's a combination between understanding our customer needs and then looking to represent 3 to maximum 5 speakers in a specific category. And obviously you need a cross-section of different price points from this so you can serve different client needs. And so it's references, first-hand experience of attending a program, getting to know a speaker personally, and understand our customer needs and what specific needs they have for their business.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously, other than me, you've known a lot of speakers. You've worked with them, friends of mine like Ron Kaufman, Frederick Hurren, who is on the Self-Leadership Success Summit. Do speakers walk their talk? I mean, they stand on stage, they talk about entrepreneurship or innovation, or in my case, self-leadership or motivation or sales, So since you do break bread with them, so what's the dirty secret? Are we all we're cracked up to be?
I would rather focus on the positives and say that, you attract the right kind of speakers that resonate with our philosophy as a family-owned business, as a business model that thrives on breaking bread, building relationships. To me, time off stage is as if not more important than on stage, because when the speakers make my experience, our team's experience, seamless, effortless, and are looking for ways to build relationships with the customers beyond the stage, that really makes us believe they are in the business for the long term. It's not a transactional experience on stage, earn my revenue, and I'm off. You've invested time here with us today. You've done media interviews. You've been on and off stage. You interact with customers buying the books. People feel you're approachable. That authenticity takes the relationship to the next level, because when you leave, we've got to go and follow up with those customers. And we want them to say, he was a great speaker, but what a fantastic person. That really makes a difference to make our role that we play even more effective, Andrew.
Which segues beautifully into this concept of self-leadership, because the authenticity, being the same in business or in family, at work, or eating with somebody in a restaurant. We were just chatting with Dr. Marshall Goldsmith about, be nice to the waiters, yes, because they're the ones that serve your food. And so this is that authenticity piece, that you are the same on stage, off stage, in business, off business. Something that gets, I think, passed over. I think a lot of people have become fake. We live in this age of fake news, and everybody can look fantastic on Facebook or on Instagram.
Right.
Being authentic, that's a challenge or not?
I don't know how to answer that, but I say each one, being yourself is key. And I think that's where you need to have that balance between online and offline. So you really get to know people offline, personally and professionally, and understand the level of authenticity. I think everyone has a level of authenticity, some more effortlessly, some not so. So it's really each one's interpretation and experience offline.
Okay. So in terms of this, have you always been this way, or this is handed down father to son? You mentioned your family business. Your father, Mr. Ram Ganglani. Did you learn it from dad, or is this just inherently who you are?
I'd say it's a combination of both. I definitely want to attribute a lot of my success and my personality to my father, who's definitely passed on his great disciplines as a human being and what the true values are to me as a person. So I really am grateful to him. And I think the rest comes naturally and with experience. As you travel across the globe, work with different nationalities, and you're open and flexible and supportive to working with different types of people. One of the great books I read many years ago, Dealing with Difficult People, and it shared with me that actually nobody's difficult in this world. People are different. And the moment you perceive people as different, your whole approach to working with different cultures and different people changes your whole experience. And to me, it's a combination of being passed on from my dad, and then having the actual experience myself, and being open to feedback, or feed forward in Marshall's word, and learning from that so you can keep improving. And I'm still learning today, 25 years here later.
Okay, yeah, that constant feedback and learning. So is there a skill in dealing with people? Is there or a particular principle? We've talked about that relationship. As I said, I wanted to speak to you because I think I've seen you in action, and you're very, very good at it. And I wanted you to pass that on. Other than the fact that you've modeled this from your father, it's part of your values, is there a particular something that's going on in your head when you're communicating with somebody?
Well, when I meet someone for the first time, irrespective of the background that I've done my research on someone, I really would like to get to know people personally. So I like to understand their hobbies, their passions, their favorite food, where they've traveled, and I really feel that gives me a better sense of the person. Right. And the authenticity comes out very naturally. So before I talk business, I really like to get to know people personally. And that to me is a key instinct that I have, is get to know people personally before you talk shop, if we say.
Okay. Well, of course, in China, of course, Guangxi relationship, you're of Indian heritage. You're based out of Dubai, the United Arab Emirates. You mentioned different countries, different context and cultures. You say there's no difficult people, they're just different people, which I agree with. But the question is, who's more different to deal with in your experience around the globe? Who's a bit more different?
Really, and again, I say different as opposed to difficult, because the moment you understand the different cultures, like to me, the Middle East and India are very much family oriented. Family is so important in the Gulf and the Indian subcontinent, and food. Yeah. Not to say it's not in other parts of the world, I just say those two stand out. And to me, getting to know different people's families, sharing a meal with them in those two cities before you get to any form of business is absolutely critical. India, I found sometimes they find it difficult to say no. Yeah. So I try in my level best to make people to feel comfortable to say no as early as possible, because I say I value your time, I value mine. If this is not the right time, or not the right budget, or whatever it may be, feel free to comfortable to say it's no for now. So once I understand that, especially with Indians, I strive my level best to build those relationships so they feel comfortable to say no. And that's just an example. So I really think it's about understanding every culture is different. Understand the cultures. There's always 2 or 3 key things in every culture, and change your approach, because we are in control of what we can ask. We're in control of what we can say and approach, and that will help us approach each culture differently.
Very good. Very good. Now, you've worked with some of the greats. Can we ask for some stories? I mean, you've, as I said, I teased you about, are we the same on stage as off? But you've worked with Brian, who I've interviewed around self-leadership. What are some of the greatest takeaways you've seen, having sat in so many seminars, so many audiences listening to? I think you've probably listened to more motivational speakers than anybody, right? So what are some of the lessons and takeaways that you've had from the people you've worked with?
Well, I'd say for me, from a speaker's perspective, I mean, I really enjoy when a speaker delivers with high energy, because to me, energy is everything. It really needs to get people in the right frame of mind. You could have fantastic content not delivered with high energy.
Oh yeah, but name names. Come on, who's high energy for you?
High energy. Well, to me, definitely Ron Kaufman is right up there in terms of the highest level of energy.
Sure.
We've Ron Kaufman, Marshall Goldsmith has great energy. I've heard yourself speak, Frederick Harron, Jerome Joseph, to name a few of the recent speakers. So to me, energy plays a key role.
Right.
Content is really, really important. It's content that's relevant, and that it's engaging content, that you're providing them some new value that they can learn. Right. And above all is, what are the key actionable takeaways that they can take back? Because that's the distinct difference between one speaker and the rest. You could have fantastic energy, give relevant content, but it just becomes an inspirational keynote or inspirational afternoon. They go back and that's it. All we want is even one idea, if not 2 or 3. They can go back and apply that in their business or their personal lives, and then they see the difference. Once they experience that, they move from a fan to a raving fan, using Ken Blanchard's book. That's the distinct. You've had an emotional engagement where there's a connection between what they've learned and been inspired to take action and benefited from that action. And that to me is absolutely key.
So, again, I'm pushing you on this. I know it's unfair. An action that you've applied from listening to one of your speakers.
I'd say one of the things that stand out for me is Jack Canfield. Jack Canfield had written, this book, Success Principles. It has 52 habits, which all of them are actionable ideas. One habit that I was using, but I'd say my level of application increased after spending time with him years back, is the power of asking. Yeah. Because to me, when you ask, you have an opportunity for a yes. It's literally a 50-50 chance. And I just feel if you ask in the right way, where you're polite, you're friendly, with love and respect, then people are more receptive to being helpful and kind and to giving you ideas or solutions. To me, I'm very comfortable to ask. And so I think the power of asking helps you constantly move forward, either in learning or in progressive, in every which way. That would be one of the principles that I've applied. If I selected one more, it would be Ron Kaufman. When he has the escalators, from basic or criminal if you go that low, but basic to unbelievable. It's always looking at how can I step up? What can I do differently to enhance the experience beyond expected? And to me, that just that image of that escalator is really omnipresent in my mind with every customer, because we come across different customers, or you're in a situation. Just saying sorry in a situation, correcting it is basic. What can you do to make a negative situation actually turn out to be a corrective measure, but a positive, memorable experience that actually the customer is more loyal than had the problem not happened? And that's something that at a conscious level I apply.
Very good, very good. I'm sure they're going to be very pleased to hear that you've executed. Well, one of the things as speakers, we love it when people write to us and say, hey, I applied this and it's changed my life. It makes the job worthwhile. So what we've touched on here is, self-awareness, what do you know, and the self-regulation of self-leadership is the application of habits and rituals.
Yeah.
So, you've been on the road. Before I met you here in Mumbai, you were in Delhi. You've been working hard. What are some of the self-regulation habits you have?
Personally, again, thank my dad in terms of mindfulness, in terms of exercise in the morning, in terms of, be it yoga, be it walks, things like 20 to 30 minutes of silence, whether it's mindfulness in terms of sitting in silence or meditation, listening to some favorite music, just a handful of things just to get my state of mind between being calm to being physically fit for the day, because you have varying schedules from travel to time differences to busy days. So to me, starting my day right is absolutely key. And I do a similar thing at the end of the day. I listen to 20 minutes of a meditation or guided meditation of some kind of relaxing music, so that I just want to ensure that my start and my closing of the day has no technology involved at all, because I've been through that habit. If I start my day with my phone or end the day with the phone, I realize the quality of my sleep and my energy levels vary. So to me, it's ensuring that distinct difference in the start and end of the day.
Okay, very good. So we've talked about your self-regulation. What about your own learning, right? You don't have to do anything extra because you're surrounded by learning, or do you have an intentionality around your own development?
No, to me, learning is a continuous lifetime journey. There's, Mahatma Gandhi said, "Stop learning, stop living." Yeah. I heard that many years ago, and I fully think that when you, be it through books, be it through, I like to listen to a lot of audios and video clips. I see these bite-sized contents that I like to get even one specific point, or if there's a particular situation or a concern that comes to mind or that I'm in, I go and quickly check online for a video or an audio that I can listen to or watch each and every day. And if there's nothing specific, I'll put something on every day for 10-15 minutes just to inspire myself in a particular area or a particular book, and I would read those books to keep myself abreast of what's latest.
Very good, very good. So your life in terms of travel, business, etc., have you faced the challenge, the disruption, where all of this has been tested? Have you had those moments?
Absolutely. I've
anything come to mind?
Well, I mean, to me, in business, it's something that has comes across. I mean, business is constantly changing. We live in today's times. In the last 3 years, things are changing with technology. We touched upon earlier, technology is disrupting the way business is done. We're all familiar with Uber, we're familiar with Airbnb, we're familiar with Netflix. All these companies are disrupting those particular models, and I think our model has, with the amount of content that's available, so we have to keep innovating and be open to change and innovate to how we do our business and what can we do differently to add more value to our customers.
Okay. So again, you just always cycle back to that adding value to customers, all right? Although what does Marshall says? Don't offer too much value, right? So how do you manage that? When he talks about that, though, he's meaning don't prescribe when people haven't asked, right?
Correct.
So okay. So I'm asking really the resilience question. Would you consider yourself resilient?
Work in progress, to say the honest. I would say yes, I'm resilient, but you're always being tested, and I'd like to strengthen that and continuously sharpen the saw in that space.
So with all the disruption and the technology, I'm just going to test you again. So does it still come back to relationship? Is that going to change, or is that the one constant that you're going to hold?
That to me is without a doubt the one constant is all about the relationship. That will stand, to me, that will make your business sustainable, that will keep you in good shape. To me, it's all about relationships, both internally with your teams and externally with your customers, externally and internally with your speakers in the name of our business model. Relationships, building relationships, and that needs continuous nurturing. It's not a one-time experience. You build a relationship. I mean, it goes down to simple things like birthdays or knowing special occasions, to their favorite authors, to facilitating something or the other whenever you're with those people that you are looking to build a relationship with.
Okay. Well, that's one thing that technology does help. You know, Facebook does remind me about people. I mean, I was terrible with birthdays. I still am terrible with birthdays, but thankfully Facebook does allow me to know when people's birthdays are. Awesome. So what's your definition of success then?
My definition of success is, to me, it's all about deep inner fulfillment and happiness in the present moment. That is absolutely key. I mean, you need to enjoy the journey, not the destination. Something you've all heard, but it's something I've experienced. I had the misconception that I needed to reach a certain place or achieve a certain objective to be happy or to be successful. I realized that each and every day, being happy now, living in the present moment, we're a success. Just the fact that we've got the opportunity each and every day to make a difference in people's lives, personally and professionally. And that, to me, is the very key to success. Is, are you making a difference each and every day? Are you living with an attitude of gratitude? Are you focusing on the present moment, the now? And that, to me, is success.
Well, I think you've successfully sent that message to our viewers. Thank you very much to a self-leader